again.
3, 2, 1, go! Hey guys, it's Andres.
It's Kevin here.
And welcome back to another episode of Brick by Brick. I actually really wanted to touch on today why you're not hitting your goals and what your goals should actually be and how to make it easier. I think the biggest thing, and a lot of people don't realize this, is that they don't have a set goal, a very specific goal, because you don't become successful by accident. You become successful by making things very intentional. I think if I just said I want to do something with my money, it would have just stayed in my bank account because I didn't have a particular plan.
100%. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Just to touch into that again, very, very intentional with what you're doing, especially when it comes to any goals that you have in life. Make sure you know the why behind it. Right, I think it's the main thing, like knowing why you're doing it, and that should, in theory, give you enough, I guess, how would some people call it, like power, I guess, will.
I think it gives you a path to go down, and I don't know if they did this for you, but I for those of you who don't know, I worked where Kevin works for like 2 weeks, and then I got fired. At the beginning, when we were training, they told us, hey, you need to set your goals, you need to write them down and make it very intentional. And I've done that for a while. I think I don't know if you see the sticky note over on my work computer over there that says goals. I have a very specific amount of money that I need to save this year. And that comes with implications and planning, because if you're just like, hey, I'm going to make this much money this year, but I'm working and getting $9 an hour and I'm making less in the whole year, you don't really have a plan. You just have kind of a dream, and you wish that it's going to happen and it's just going to come to you. Yeah. What I've learned, especially recently, is that things will never just come to you. You have to go and take them.
You always gotta have some sort of plan in order for you to go towards it. It's like if you're using your example, if you're making $9 an hour and you're like, well, I want to make 100,000 next year or this year, you're realistically just hoping, and hoping doesn't do much. Believing in it really does help, but without a concrete plan, there's really not a lot of action that you can do that will gear you towards that goal. And
did they also tell you to do that when you were training? To write down your certain goals? I know that
I think I've always written down my goals. I've always
you've been good at
my
that.
phone. I've kept them like what income I want to reach certain years.
You made your vision board too, huh?
I have a vision board too.
I think you were the first person that inspired me to do that. You and my girlfriend did it around the same time. You guys both made a vision board of what you wanted, and that pushed me.
I think you mentioned it. Oh no, it was Ariel.
Yeah.
He mentioned it, and then I did it, and I think I mentioned you, and she probably did it too, or something.
Yeah, I did it. I don't know if you've seen my computer background. The work computer background. I made one on Canva, and I have it there, and it's on all of my computer screens, even on this one.
You love Canva, huh?
I've gotten really good at it, and it's pretty it's pretty intuitive. And whatever I don't know, I just ask ChatGPT.
Pretty much.
I have all of this in there. And I think setting clear goals is important, but not just that. What I've started to do is reverse engineer the goals. This is where I want to get. How am I gonna, you need to do time. How long do you want to take to get there?
Give us an example.
Yeah, when I was buying the house, that's a good example. I think that's the best example, and I think people are gonna get tired of me mentioning this, but it's the only really good example I have. When I was working, I had just for purposes of the example, let's say I had $30,000 saved up there, and I was like, hey, I have this. It's not making me anything sitting in my bank account. I need to do something with it. And then I was like, my goal, my personal goal, is to have an investment that passively makes me income. So I reversed engineer that, and I was like, I don't know exactly how much I want to make. I just know I want to start profiting now and then grow it over time. That was my goal. It wasn't a specific amount of money, but it was a specific action and a specific growth. So I think I could have made it more specific and that would have been better, but I was like, hey, I need to do this now. It's sitting there. I don't want my money to start losing value. So I thought about it, reverse engineered it. I was like, what can make me passive income without losing me a lot of money at first? A business, that's going to be big losses at first. What if I buy a house and rent it out or flip it? Flipping it was a lot harder. I found out like that having a duplex and renting it was a better start, and it was slower, and it was a little bit of a snowball
Weren't
effect.
you looking like a quadplex at first?
I could have, but I saw a quadplex. It was like an apartment complex, and it was actually half of the value of the duplex, but it was really, really run down, and I would have had to put a lot of money into it. And so I was like, right now I'm not knowledgeable, and I knew that. Like, you need to be very, very, very self-aware. Like, if you're just starting something, don't go do the highest return on investment thing if it's going to be 10, 20 times harder because you won't know how to do it. That's how I saw it. I was like, dude, I'm not good enough to do this yet. And like, maybe I could have, maybe it would have been the right choice, but at the beginning I didn't know. It would have been a gamble.
Yeah.
And I wasn't willing to lose all my life savings on that. But
you gotta weigh your options. It's like you have this path in front of you, and so you take route 1 or 2, but you're still going forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like you're acting on it, right? And that's honestly a really good example. I mean, one that I can think of as well, like another example would be like, and this hits like really close to home because my mom has actually said this, where she's like, hey, like I want to lose weight by New Year's, and I want to be a certain weight, and I hope I get to do that goal. And then as I was hearing her, I was like, you're not gonna accomplish it. I just straight up told her, I was like, you're not gonna accomplish it. And then she was like, why? You don't believe in me? And she started questioning me, and I was like, well, the verbiage that you're using is already assuming that you're not gonna try your best. Hoping is not enough. It's black and white. Either you do it or you don't. And at the time, she didn't have an actionable plan. What an actionable plan would have looked like if she showed me one would probably be like the amount of calories that she's taking in every day, basically her macros, right? And then exercising in the gym and so on. She just kind of told me out of the blue, and I was like,
I'm hoping, I'm wishing.
You're just wishing, yeah. You're not really putting anything into place, like out there in the world. You're telling me, which is already a good start, but you really don't have a plan. And yeah, she got mad.
Well, but I think that, like, you said that because you care about her and you want her to achieve her goals truly, and it's understandable. A lot of people can't take the truth. Truth hurts. Truth is difficult. I don't know if you've heard that story about Alex Hormozy, where like he was coaching someone on a business, and the woman was like, it's impossible for me to like do that, the way you're saying, it's super difficult. And then he was like, you're right, you can't do it. And then she was like, yeah, I can. She was like trying to justify it after she just said it. But I think that's how a lot of people are. Sometimes you just need to like let them know, hey, this is not, especially if you care about them, when you care about your mom and you tell her like, hey, that's not the way you're gonna accomplish things.
I 100% agree with you, and you're absolutely right. And sometimes I feel like people are not open-minded.
Yeah.
Especially
people just want to be told what they want to hear.
Basically,
they want to be like, yeah, you'll do it without a plan. It's cool.
We work in sales, so we know exactly what that sounds like. You know, I feel like since we do work in sales, we kind of know what cues and what exactly we're hearing. So it kind of ticked in my mind, and I was like, it clicked, and I was like, okay, so what's stopping her from doing this? Thinking of it through a sales mindset, I was like, what's probably stopping her from doing this? There's only really like 5 core principal things in each sale, right, that an agent has to do in order for the sale to have a very high likelihood of it actually happening. And I think in my case with my mom, it was like the credibility. Maybe the credibility wasn't there, the deeper I was thinking, I was like, okay, maybe it's the credibility. Maybe she's not like open-minded enough to believe me. You know what I mean?
I think she thought, or she felt, she probably didn't think about it, but she felt like her immediate reaction was feeling that you were being negative, or maybe that you didn't want to help her, even though like your intention was to like tell her things how they were. And I know you probably offered like a plan for her, like if you need to do this, 100%. But I think the first thing is like, and we touched about this
on another podcast, right?
I think no, we touched about this at work the other day, and in the book that I'm reading, it's actually this one, Fanatical Prospecting, and it talks about, and it doesn't say it this way, but it's like my manager addressed it as extreme accountability, extreme self-accountability. Like everything that happens to me is my fault and only my fault. A lot of people don't believe in that, and that's fine, because like some things are out of your control. I believe that taking over that mentality, it's the best way to remove like variables that you can't control out of the equation, and gives you the best
mentality.
It gives you the best opportunity at success, even if it doesn't feel as good.
Yeah.
Even if you're under a little bit of more pressure. But like, let's say, hey, the sun is out today, I don't want to run. That is only my fault, not the sun's fault, because I don't feel like running in the sun. I think that kind of accountability, it sets you up for success, even though it's not your fault.
Yeah, even if there's like bad things happening in your life, I think you should still take that.
Yeah.
This person was really mean to me. I feel like you still gotta take like that. Okay, it's my fault. Maybe I did something wrong.
Yeah. If people are mean to me, why am I going to be mean back to wrong?
Yeah. Right. Sometimes that mentality. Actually, let me rephrase back. All the time, that mentality will get you very, very, very far, because it's a good way to reframe everything, reframe reality.
I know you're really good at setting very, very specific goals. I think you might be better than me at that, because sometimes I know my goals can be vague or can vary. Like during the year, I'll try to adjust my goal to what makes sense for me, because sometimes I'll be like, hey, I'm like, all my 3 goals were not correlated together. So I'll be like, okay, I can like these 2, I won't discard them, but I'll put them on hold until after. And just focus on one thing, 2 things that correlate with each other, because, and we've talked about this, doing too much of one thing.
Like spreading yourself too thin.
Yeah, spreading yourself too thin.
Yeah.
But I want to know, like, with your experience, like, what's one goal that you've been very, very specific about, that you set a number, set a path, and accomplished it?
This year, okay, so last year, towards like the middle of the year, I was like, next year, I really, 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 really want to double my income. That was like my biggest thing. So I was like, when we were in that, because you already obviously knew me then, right?
Yeah.
But we were looking at options, right? Like out in the job market. I mean, I was weighing everything. Like I was taking into consideration everything. Like what was the likelihood of me getting this job versus this one? But this one pays better, but this one
is so much research on this stuff.
It was so much research, yeah, that we felt comfortable with. Coming up with the decision, we knew what to expect, basically. And as soon as this year started, and I feel really good at saying this, because I don't know why it just clicked again, but I think second month I was able to double my my income, but it was from like 3 months back. So within like 2 months of actually doing that, I was like, wow. The grass is greener.
Yeah. But what I noticed, and I'm glad you touched on that, because when I left my first sales job, my goal was also to double my income. It didn't go well at first, and it was because I lacked that research that we did the second time around. I just went into, and like no regrets on that. It made me better at everything, but it didn't result in the goal that I had planned. Like it went like plan was here, went this way. But I didn't do research. I went to the first opportunity. I was like, dude, I'll just crush it here anyways. Like what I realized the second time around, and I think I shared all my spreadsheets with you when I was job hunting. And I was like, this job has, I think I was taking, you saw my spreadsheets, it was job, manager contacts, base salary on.
You basically had like a spreadsheet for each company.
Yeah, and I was ranking the companies based on earning potential and growth potential. So that was very big for me because the second time around, way different. Like now I'm in a spot where I'm very comfortable and I see a lot of growth in the near future.
There you go.
And the difference was that this time around, like last time, I'll just go into this. I'll try to like I'll do my best to make double the income. I was like, yes, I need to do it, but there was no plan to how I was going to accomplish it. My plan was make a bunch of calls, and
100%.
like it didn't work.
And good thing that you touched on that, because you might prepare as well as you can and you might feel like the most ready person ever. But sometimes life, God, karma, whatever you believe in, has different plans. Because not everything's gonna go as planned. Because let's use that job as an example. What I thought that was gonna happen. I want to make another name for it because I feel like if they're watching this, they're gonna be like, "Oh, he's bad mouthing," but I don't mean it in any bad way.
I love that place. It was awesome.
I really do.
It was filled with nice people.
But let's say in terms of income, before I was working there with Bank of America, I was like right here, and then I got into that place and I went down, and I thought I was gonna go up. But I was like, yeah, I'm going into sales. I'm gonna make more money and stuff like that. And
did you eventually make more money there than what you were making at the bank?
I think towards like the later months, yes, I
It
was.
doesn't matter now because we're way better off now. But
Yeah, 100%. But I think it was towards
the
later
end?
months.
Okay.
Later months.
That's good.
So it wasn't what I expected. If I would have stayed there another year, perhaps I maybe would have doubled it. Who knows, right? But what I'm saying here is the point is that not everything's gonna go as planned. And that's why the mentality of everything's my fault and this happened because of my fault, so I need to change something within myself is the greatest mentality you can ever have. Because you could have easily come bitter,
Dude, I think I could have quit sales forever.
That's what I'm saying. Like you could have easily gone another way and perhaps it would have been further from your goal.
And I think you've heard me when I was there. I was like, dude, there's something I'm doing wrong. That's why I'm not cutting it at this job. And like you probably heard me say that because I said it a bunch. I was like, I need to fix something. What do I need to fix? And I was always
and I feel like with you specifically, what was happening was that like you had a certain goal, right? You just said, and that goal, let's say that goal that was up there, and your reality were separating a lot, so that was creating a lot of stress. Hence, that's why you didn't believe in the product. I think that pinpoints it on why you weren't successful because you didn't believe in it in the first place. So, which is fine. It's okay because you have high expectations.
It's okay to not be okay as long as you don't stay not okay. Is that a song?
It's all about the friends we made along the way, guys.
It is about the friends we made along the way. We have to send this to Shark.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I think that's what happened with you, and I think I was more successful at it because my expectations were lower. So I was closer to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I
like
think
to
I
hear
just
that.
pinpointed.
Like you were happy there, but like I feel like the biggest thing and like the separation between the two. My lack of research, my lack of planning led to an experience that was not the expectation because it wasn't my specific goal was not realistic compared to like I did not have steps to take.
And to add to that, if you do go through that, don't go bitter. Don't feel bad about yourself.
Don't stop. Why would you stop? I think, and this is something that Alex Ramosi says.
Yeah.
If you're willing to suck at one thing for 100 days straight, you'll outperform 99% of people. And you know what happened on the 6th month, the 180th day for me?
Oh, that's right.
I hit my best month there ever.
You did hit a...
And dude, that feeling was such a big feeling of relief that I hadn't felt in like a year and a half. And it was just something that completely like, it gave me a mental reset.
If you think about it, did you ever feel like that in your other company that you made more money?
Yeah, every day. Yeah. I was hitting my goals every week.
Man, that's hard.
But,
I was gonna make a really good example.
Okay, give us an example anyways. Maybe it's useful.
No, what I was gonna say is like, did you feel like you were being born again almost.
Yes. It did feel different. It wasn't
the exact same feeling.
It wasn't the exact same feeling. The other, the feeling of daily success is so good. It's like having...
It's great.
It's like striking gold. It's like hitting the jackpot. The other one, when you're like at the bottom, at the lowest points of your life, and then you hit like a little breather, it's like taking the heaviest weight off your shoulder.
There you go.
I felt so good in that moment, but like that comparison from that lack of planning going into like the very thought out methodology and planning the goal, the steps, and the outcome, the difference is like it's night and day.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you felt it, or maybe you did, or maybe you, like when you went to the bank, you felt the same way where you didn't really have a plan when you went into sales. Maybe you felt the same way, maybe on a little smaller scale.
Like relief?
So no, like the difficulty of not planning compared to where you like when you didn't plan like the journey into sales.
Yeah.
As compared to like your journey transition to higher income sales experience.
How I pictured it was I went into this whole new industry that I didn't know anything of. I just knew that I made a bunch of money if you were really good at it, and that I wanted to be good at it.
Did you have a specific plan there?
No.
There is no.
That's why I feel like maybe I went down.
I think that's such a big difference, and I think like our examples can serve a lot of the people watching this just because of that. I think this is the best example we've ever talked about because night and day differences. We're in, like I think we're both doubling our income from what we're we're in auto and home insurance,
100%,
property and casualty, and
closer to.
That's all because we planned the end, we planned the journey, and we planned the beginning. Like everything was planned, and that makes the real difference. What else is something that can stop people? Like a lack of consistency, maybe, because
huge one. I think that might be. I want to say because there's no point in you like doing everything else if it's not going to be consistent.
Yeah.
Would you argue that's the most important one?
I think setting an actionable plan is just as important. Like what we talked about earlier, like having
Can you
clarity.
still be successful with just the consistency?
Can you be consistent without a plan and still be successful? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You don't think?
I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. Because I was like when I went into insurance, I was consistent without a plan.
Let me give you an example.
Maybe it's possible. Let me rephrase that. It's very difficult.
It's difficult. Yeah, 100%.
But I do think it's possible. I think people have been there.
It is possible, and the point that I was trying to make is like consistency is the main one.
Dude, I'm curving the hell out of all of your points today. I'm sorry, man.
Bending them. I'm just playing. No, but it's basically like the consistency is the more important one because that's the one that without it, you're pretty much nothing successful.
Yeah.
You can have clarity, you can have an actionable plan, you can have the focus, you can have everything. But if it's not consistent, then
if you don't get the job done, there won't be an outcome.
There's never gonna be. It's gonna be very volatile, and it's only gonna rely on motivation, and that's bad. It should always be discipline.
Discipline.
Yeah, I think consistency is one of the most important. In your life, how have you used that? Let's say in your new job.
I think showing up every day has been, and I actually think I really want to talk about this because we had a meeting earlier during the week, and I did really good last month. I think I ranked number 1 in my team for qualified leads. And we had the first of the month meeting on Friday, and it was very much talking about. I think someone asked me, they were like, "Hey, like, what tips can you give us to do the way you did this past month?" And I didn't know. I was a little bit clueless, but I had talked to a friend. We had this conversation, and he was like, "Hey, you're killing it, man." And I was like, "Dude, I'm desperate right now because I need to hit my goal." I was desperate for the last 2 weeks of the month because I was so close, but I felt so far. And I was just, man, I was dialing like a crazy person, and I was desperate about reaching my goal. And I was like, "Hey, I need to book this many meetings for this many to be qualified to buy." And I was like, I need to get it. I need to get more. I need to get more than that, because if I don't, the universe might just be willing to shit on me, and I'll book 6 meetings and none of them will be qualified to buy. So I need to do more. I need to overachieve, because it's happened to me where I've had 4 meetings booked in a week. None of them qualify or none of them show up, and I didn't want that this month. So what he said, what my friend said, that we had talked about this, it was, I think Andres told me he was desperate. So I think that's what we need to do from now on. And I think that's a really big outlier. And I want to put numbers, like I don't know if we can edit it in, like numbering these steps or like these things to put it in the video and have clear, actionable like divisions for it. Be desperate about your goals, or if that's not the right word,
hungry.
Want it, be hungry. And we just read Think and Grow Rich, and we're going to read it again. We're going to try to talk about it later. That's something that it goes into, like, have a really strong desire. I think I'm going to say it the way that I said it, like, be desperate, but Napoleon Hill says, have a strong desire to accomplish your goals. Because if you don't have a strong desire and you just kind of want it, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, you're not gonna be hungry. And yours is desperate. My version of it would be like hungry, like your why.
Can you say it different ways?
Shout out to Eric Thomas. He's one of the GOATs, but he talks a lot about. He's a motivational speaker.
Okay.
Eric Thomas.
Eric Thomas.
I don't know if
I'm gonna listen to him because he's interesting.
Listen to him before work, bro. He's really good. But anyways, point is that if you lose your hunger, right, your why, then you're not gonna perform with the same intensity that you would if you were hungry for it, or if you had to, like if you didn't have any other choice.
Have you seen? I think his name's Andy Elliott, and he says, like, he'll go to car salesmen and he'll be like, how many cars did you sell last month? 20. If I went and put a gun to the head of, like, I don't think we can say that. Hold up. If I put a pew to the head of your family and said you have to sell 40 cars this month, would you be able to sell it? And they would say yes. Like, why do you have to get to that extreme to be able to hit your goals?
Boom.
Because you don't want it bad enough. You don't have the desire. You don't have the hunger.
Yeah.
And let's put those in all caps. You don't have the hunger. You don't have the desire. You don't have you're not desperate to get it. That's the difference. If you perform as well as you can, and your answer is I couldn't, I'm doing my best right now, then you're really desperate and you're really hungry and you're all of those things.
If you're not tired, one of my colleagues said this. So we finish work at 4, but he does overtime because he loves the money, right? Like I do. He said one thing in one of the meetings. He was like, if you don't feel tired by 6 p.m., if you feel like you don't want to keep going on, then that means that you didn't try hard enough.
That's how I feel about the gym too.
And I think this ties exactly to that. And I think it ties to everything in life. I feel like if you're gonna do something, like, might as well do it great.
Yeah, and
be great at it.
These tips don't just go for like making money, starting a business, doing sales. They also go for like your personal goals, like go to the gym, like same thing, set your goal. My goal is to be at this body fat percentage, at this weight, in this amount of time. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to the gym this many times a week. I'm going to do this many muscle groups, and I'm going to eat this many calories. Because if your goal is to have abs, that's your goal, that's it, no explanation. You're not desperate, you don't have a plan, you're not gonna become exceptional by accident. And nobody, like, maybe you will, but like, it'll be luck. It won't be as earned as the other way, and your chances are lower.
The guy that I talk about, Eric Thomas, he used to be homeless. Like, they already didn't have a home. But one day he was like, man, I'm tired. Like, I'm tired of, not having a home, like having a roof over my head. I'm tired of not being able to eat every day. And that's a strong motivator, right?
And
Talk about being hungry. He literally didn't have food in his mouth.
I'm going to say this again.
I don't think it gets worse than that.
I'm going to say this again because I love this example for this. Like, that guy was the definition of desperate. Just love that word. It sounds so like like I need this. I don't know what.
He gives so many good examples on like hunger. Like one famous one that he says is like, if you have to want it as bad as you want to breathe. So basically he gives an example, I'll just briefly mention it. He gives an example of someone, a guy that is really good at business, right?
Yeah.
Well, just someone very successful, right? And then a guy that's, you know, working at the company, very low level, he's like, hey, I want to be like you. Like, I want to be very successful like you. And he's like, all right, well, I'll meet you at this place at 5 a.m. And then he looks at the address and it's a beach. And then he's like, a beach? Okay, whatever, fine. Right, so 5 a.m. rolls by, and the he's all like in his suit and his suitcase and everything. And then the guy that's very successful, he's like, you should have brought shorts. And he just kind of looks at him.
That's
like,
hilarious.
Okay. And then he's like, you're ready for the lesson? And he's like, yeah, I'm ready. He's like, walk to the water. And then the guy's like, what? Walk to the water? And he's like, yeah, start walking towards the water. So he starts walking until he gets up to his knees. And then he's like, okay, what do I do now? Keep walking. Okay, so he keeps walking, right? It reaches all the way to the top, up to his neck. And he's like, keep walking. And then he keeps on walking. To this point, he's drowning, right?
What is this story?
Wait, it gets better. So he's drowning, right? And then he comes out of the water. He's like, go back in. And then he goes back into the water. He's drowning. And then he comes back, right? And then he tells him, what did you learn? And then he's like, well, nothing. I almost drowned. And he's like, exactly. You have to want it as bad as you want to breathe. Then you'll be successful. And that story hit my heart. I was like, wow. So it's like, you almost gotta need it to live.
That's crazy.
It's a cool story. I explained it probably wrong. But
No. I think it's very interesting. It makes sense. Do you feel like focusing on too much, and this goes back to spreading yourself too thin. This is another principle that I'd like to touch on.
Yeah, that's actually a good thing to touch on. It's like, yes, you can, want it as bad as you want to breathe, but you also gotta make sure that you're focusing.
How many things can one do at a time?
Then you have to have a priority. At this point in life, I would say one. I feel like
I like that.
I feel like if you have something else, right, it's not gonna be a priority, right? So you're not gonna put your 100% effort into it. So I would say one. I don't know. What's your?
I like that. I think one needs to be your priority, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm focusing on work. I think, man, I just can't let go of the gym, so I need to do both. Like, that's going to be my goal this very moment. Work in the gym. But the gym's not going to be as prioritized. Like, there's levels. You need to set your number one priority, and if the gym conflicts with your number one priority that specific day, you're going to have to miss it that day and focus on your one thing. Because if you, and you touch on this a lot, I think you're very good at realizing this and taking notice of when people are spreading themselves too thin. You can't be exceptional when you're trying to be exceptional at everything. You won't be exceptional at one thing. And you've probably heard of the expression, jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
And I think that's very significant because if you realize, and like, let's look at the big entrepreneurs of the world, like Jeff Bezos, not Elon Musk, that guy's an anomaly. He's like trying a bunch of stuff and he's being successful at it. But like Jeff Bezos focused on just Amazon. Like, he focused on delivering a quality service, and it's something that everyone liked. And like, there's been copies, like the TikTok shop even at some point, and they're not successful because they are not exceptional. They do other things. I just feel like when you're focusing on multiple things at a time, you can't be exceptional at any of them unless you prioritize one.
Yeah.
And decide, like, you need to make the very conscious decision. I'm deciding that I don't want to be mediocre at this. I want to be exceptional, and I'm willing to sacrifice other things for it. For me, it's been sales, to be honest with you. There's been times where I've kind of wanted to get more into the gym, but I've realized that that's not something I can focus on a lot. And it's something that I've been judged on at times for like not going back to the gym more consistently.
Really? By who?
Yeah, I'll tell you later, but but it's something that people are like, you can do both. You should do both. Like, why?
I don't think you should ever if you're making fun of someone or telling someone like, why are you so going to the gym? If you know that they're focusing on some other stuff, dude, don't be that person. That's like really.
Maybe they didn't know I was focusing on other stuff.
Well, it depends.
They like the person particularly knew, like they assumed that my primary number one goal was going to the gym. So I respect that.
But
like,
no, I know you. I feel like everyone that knows you, and
you'll know when I tell you. But
personally, bro, I don't see myself doing that with you. If you one day you're like, oh, I don't want to do sales. I actually want to jump into, I don't know, freaking a business, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, I want to, even though they go hand in hand, just for purposes of the example. If you go into business, you start doing sales, I'm gonna be like, dude, I'm gonna be like, why aren't you doing that?
Go back.
I'm gonna be like, I want to be your first cheerleader, you know what I mean? I'll be the one, hey,
That's really
hell
fun.
yeah, go for it, bro. Make sure you're doing your due diligence and everything.
Dude, your thing is not lighting up. I got you, bro. I just had to, I'm sorry. But yeah, I think it's important. It's important to focus on one specific thing. Like set that as your main goal, set a goal for that. And then everything else on the side is after you've accomplished all of your goals in that.
You can't just focus on, okay, here's that. You
can't just do one thing forever.
Well, you should have like side things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Elon Musk plays video games on his free time.
Honestly, dude, that dude's an anomaly. I don't know if he does.
That's the prime example. Even him.
Does he play video games?
He does.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, that guy's an anomaly, dude.
I don't know what he plays though. But basically, he's like.
He gives me Rainbow Six Siege vibes.
He's a. Nah, he gives me more like, what is that game called? League of Legends vibes. Like more technical.
I think he does play League of Legends.
Like more technical. Anyways, point is that even him, that he's at the top of the pyramid, he still is human, right? So it's not like you gotta put, of course, you know, the more you're into it, the better, right? But you also like are allowed to have some other, you know, cycles.
Yeah, of course.
Different stuff as well. Not just that, but your primary focus and where your decision making should be on should be the primary goal. That's because it's the primary goal. It's the one that takes all of the thinking power.
And I kind of want to hear from like everyone that's watching this. Like if you have something that you're struggling with or like you have multiple goals, I'd like to hear about that too in the comments. Just to know like what you guys are into and if there's something we can talk about that like addresses that particularly. Or like maybe a lack of something, like you have a lack of motivation and things like that, or you have the issue that like you can't put your phone down, or maybe some people don't know that they can't put their phone down. Tracking screen time is important. So like that, but that's off point.
Yeah, that's it.
Other than that, a lack of accountability can be a big holdback. Or like do things with the people in your circle, like have them hold you accountable, hold them accountable. And I think that's important to focus on your goals and really reach that level. Because I feel like when we started holding each other accountable, I don't know if you knew this, but I've done different episodes of 2 different podcasts before. Episode 1 did not get past episode 2. And I think that is because there was a lack of accountability and a lack of follow-up, a lack of follow-through. And so it's very different. So like holding your team and your inner circle accountable is very important for being able to accomplish something. And like, look at us, this is like what, episode 10, episode 11 or something like that. And that's 10 times what I've ever done before.
Our goal this year, if I make some math right, how many months do we have left? Like 5 times 4, 20. Yeah, our goal this year is to break that 30 episode mark. Because most podcasts don't go over.
Is that, what's the threshold?
I think
like,
it's 30.
It's 30?
Alex mostly has said it. No, I'm actually going to check GPT.
Yeah, look it up real quick. But yeah, I think those are really good like points to touch on. I'll put in the description like everything we touched on. I can also put the timestamps on it so that you guys can see it, see what would help you most, what you're liking, and take a look at that. Other than that, anything we should add on to that?
It's actually lower. Most podcasters stop producing episodes between episode 7 and 14. The industry stats around 75% of podcasts don't make it past episode 10 and 15. So we're already ahead of 75%. According to judges.
That's cool. That's awesome. And like I'm glad that we're able to do that. But I don't think we would have done it. Like there's been days that we've woken up and we were like, dude, I don't want to do the podcast today. I don't feel like it. I don't have ideas. Like it's too early. Today I woke up a little late. I'm sorry about that. I woke up a little late. I was super tired this morning. I took my girlfriend to work at 7 in the morning and then I fell back asleep.
100%.
But
actually, wow, that's crazy. Okay. Anyways, what I was gonna say is most creators, according to ChatGPT on YouTube, stop posting between 20 to 35 videos. Over 90% of YouTube channels never reach. Oh, that's subscribers. That's not me. Anyways, point is that our goal this year is 30, and so far we're trying. I believe there's like around 20 weeks left.
Yeah,
like 20 weeks.
And that would be awesome. That's a big milestone for us. I want to have a guest soon on the podcast because maybe that's going to put a better perspective for a lot of people that have different situations. Because we have pretty similar experience. So let's try to get someone in with different experiences. But other than that, I think like that was pretty much it. I think this was a very insightful podcast for me. I learned a lot of things, and I like this because we're able to put things into words that we didn't really put into words before. We just kind of lived or thought about. Right. So it's awesome for everyone. But yeah, that's it for me. Anything else you want to
add? I don't think so. I mean, if you're watching this and you have something that we can do better, or something that we can help you with, or something that you want to let us know, just put it in the comments.
I want to start an Instagram and a TikTok so we can also upload and like receive messages and things like that.
Yeah, message us and everything. And if you need like not guidance, right? But if you need like any
same thing, accountability buddies even.
Yeah.
That's
like
good.
How we are to each other, we can be to you. You know, just leave us a message and we'll either feature you in the next video and or see what we can do to help. You know, the point of this podcast is so that
sharing our experience and like helping people
and accountability. I think that should be like our main thing.
The main thing, holding people accountable. Like, yeah, what did you do this week? Like, what are you planning to do next week? Like, where are you? How far along are you in your goals? Things like that.
Yeah. So that's how we get accountability buddies. But basically, yeah, this is what this podcast is for, and to see if other people out there are going through the same thing, and if we can help you, go for it.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty much about it.
Okay. Yeah. We'll catch you guys next week. Thank you. Bye.
Stay safe.